TV/Mama Capricorn _. Every day I go live on Twitch at 9 a.m. for Astro Chat and Chill, and I've been hopping on here too, so we'll see how long this continues. But if you want to really join in the conversation, or if you'd like to, participate, book a reading, things like that, you can do so here on Twitch, and that is twitch.tv/Mama Capricorn _. So we are going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. It's Valentine's Day, and tomorrow I am going to be teaching a class about Venus and how to use the information that's held in your Venus sign to be a better communicator, to be a better demonstration of the kind of love that you want to receive, the kind of love and devotion that you desire to receive, whether that's in your personal, family relationships, whether that is in your romantic relationships, or whether that's like literally in your relationship to yourself, because your Venus placement has that duality, with Venus being ruled by two signs, or being the ruler of two signs. We've got the self-love flavor of Venus, and then we also have the love of others, and that very Libran compromise, I want what I want, but also what do we want, and let's work on something together. And so we're going to be talking about that a lot today as well, and especially tomorrow. So tomorrow, like I said, I will be going and teaching this to my subscribers. So if you are a subscriber at the Celestial Supporter level and above, you will get access to this class tomorrow. Now, if you are at the Moonlit Mentor level and above, you can come actually join me live tomorrow for the class, ask me questions, bring your charts, bring your kids' charts, bring your partner's charts, whoever, and come learn about how to be a more effective communicator. Come and share with them how to love you better, and learn a little bit better how they want to be loved. That is one of the greatest things that we have available to us with astrology. It's not just find me, figure me out. It is, how can I use this information to apply it in my everyday life to make things more smooth and fulfilling and meaningful to me. And the whole thing about Venus is that Venus represents what we want to see more of. It represents what makes us feel good and safe. We've got, like I said, the duality of Venus being the self-love, the very Taurus side of Venus. What is it that makes me feel good? What is it that makes me feel very abundant? This is something that really gets lost in the teaching of Venus, or the second house, is that in order for us to receive, in order for us to set that tone in the world, in order for us to receive the abundance, the joy, the love, the whatever, we have to set that as an energetic standard. That is what we require. Those are our requirements. And so when you look at your second house, that can give you a lot of information about what it is that you, your perception of an abundant and safe and happy life looks, sounds, and feels like. Because the whole thing about that is it's completely subjective. What one person's, Oprah's or Beyonce's version of an abundant life, or even your version of an abundant life, the people that are on this app, what their version of a rich, wealthy, abundant, safe, happy life looks like could be very, very different from mine or from yours. And so when we better recognize that, we are setting ourselves in alignment with what it is that's actually going to fulfill us, and not setting ourselves up for resentment or disappointment or bitterness or whatever, because we're trying to live out the version of happiness, or of a fairy tale, or of romance, or of love that is defined by someone else, or is defined by movies or pop culture or whatever, defined by Shakespeare. Okay, so that's what we're going to really be talking about, especially tomorrow inside of my membership, because I've got this whole class laid out, and I'll share my screen a little bit over here on Twitch if you are on TikTok and you want to sneak peek, right? You can either join me on Twitch now, that is twitch.tv/mamacapricorn_, or you can go check out my YouTube later because I always upload the replay from here over to YouTube. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go and share my screen because I wanna give you just like a quick preview of what it is that we're gonna be learning about tomorrow. Now, transparently, I've not totally finished my class itinerary yet, or not the itinerary, but like the actual like class programming yet, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach it from here. Instead of having slides or whatever, we're going to go through it like this, and I'm going to teach you like the basics. We're going to go through a little bit of some of the history of the mythology of Venus and where this like even comes from in astrology, and then again, just like going deeper into the two sides of Venus. So we've got the love of self side of Venus being the Venus in Taurus side, your second house. And then we also have the Venus in Libra, that long-term love, which we find more in the seventh house. So love you, Paige. So yeah, we are going to be expanding on this tomorrow. And like, what about our time, right? Because we've got Venus exalted right now in Pisces. So we're really feeling the love. And then we also, I mean, obviously it's Valentine's Day, but tomorrow we have Venus coming into conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. We also have the moon in Sagittarius at this time. And I don't know, this is just like really screaming to me like, I am so in love, right? It's just like a very romantic time. It is a time where people are really wanting to put themselves out there, wanting to like lay it all out. Every Libra I know is on the verge of eviction. Like for real, like financially speaking. I don't know. That's interesting. I haven't noticed that. I'll go look at the celestial events and go see what's happening. No. Okay, so it depends. All right, so with Venus being in conjunction with Neptune in Pisces, so with people who have Libra placements, because they are like Venusian, is that how we would say it? Venetian people, they are really like feeling this energy at kind of an amplified, the finance themes. So they'd be like really feeling this. I said this in my email, like in my weekly kind of like breakdown of what we should expect this week, that I expect this conjunction to either be like oh my gosh, like I'm fine, I'm ready, like yes, I'm so in love, like 100%, 110%, I'm all in. Or it could be this moment where like the rose-colored glasses are slipping down and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I fell for this, right? So I could definitely see people maybe like realizing that they have made some poor investments, or maybe realizing that they have like been putting themselves into partnerships that have cost them financially, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm giving away the bag for this person, and like they're not even like, why, what am I trying to get out of this, so that would be my inclination if I were to be looking. But obviously like we'd want to see more in terms of where, all kinds of other things, because we've got here, I want to open up the actual like circle chart, which I'm going to do over here on Twitch. Let's open this, and not my natal chart. There we go. Right, and we've got the sun coming in a conjunction with, I've been talking about this part too, so this is the tangent I went on yesterday. I won't go too far down this rabbit hole again, but like, so we've got the sun coming in a conjunction with Saturn at the end of the week, and so we've had this like either romantic realization or this like, oh shit, like realization, like I've got to like make a decision, like I need to like commit, and that's where we're kind of at the end of the week, that like Sun in conjunction with Saturn, people are like finally ready to like put in some work and do the thing. The first, I mean, I said this at the, right, am I like preparing for 2023 like party or whatever, but now is when like the year starts, or like when it feels like you're starting, because we had like all of these retrogrades, and we had just like some like very dreamy and kind of sleepy sort of stuff going on. And so it was very much a time of like not acting, but like maybe playing around, experimenting, like figuring it out. But now, especially toward the end of this week, we're finally in a space of like, all right, let's fucking do this. But the great thing about this is like next month, I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks, Saturn moves into Pisces. And so when it comes to like, okay, let's fucking do the work as it stands this year is not like arduous work, right? It's like over the next, 2-ish, 3 years, there's going to be a lot more of the like inner work, the spiritual work, right? Like over the last 2-ish years or so, right? Since 2020, when Saturn like moved into Aquarius, it's been a time of like, okay, systemizing and figuring it out and like innovating and everything. And I'm sure that you have experienced this too. It's like you've given people the perfect plan. You've given people like, here is, like, you can build it, like, here it is. And then there's some people, obviously, because the plan works, there's some people who were ready for it and they see success. But then there's a large chunk of people that are left that are like still in a state of like white knuckling things, in a state of fight or flight, in a state of like, oh my God, I don't know what to do right now. And you're like, I told you what to do. It's right here. And it's not that there's any lack of like the plan working. It's that they need the inner work stuff. It's the mindset stuff still. Which we like are circling back to this like almost energy that we had, back when Saturn was moving through Sagittarius, which is good. Like we need this again. Especially whatever. But yeah, so I'm sure that's really going to be more of like where the work is much less of a focus on like, okay, like let's like knock it out, nail it down. It's a lot more of like, okay, so if you want to get that done, you're going to need to go meditate. Like you're going to need to go, that kind of thing. Go do your hypnotherapy or go do, right? It's going to be a lot more of that kind of thing. And I think also a lot more of like, for what it's worth, like retreats and experiential stuff. Yeah, I know your Saturn's in Sag because you're just like a little bit older than me, right? With my Saturn being in Capricorn, like I know that you had your Saturn return like, the season before I did. And yeah, so, and that's of course definitely like a Saturn. It's like one of Saturn's most like uncomfortable places to be, but I think that having a Saturn in Sagittarius can be really cool. And maybe it's just because I've got my Venus in Sagittarius, but like the concept of like climbing a mountain and then just like, okay, that's it. Like I'm done now. Like, ugh, like Saturn in Sagittarius is like, no way. Like I've got at least 15 other mountains I want to climb, And so for people who live in this like, capitalistic society, that it's like, no, if you're not like dominating at the top of a mountain and you've like, you're the number one, whatever, it's like, oh, have you like done it? And that can be like triggering, I guess, for people who got the Saturn in Sagittarius. But if you're comfortable and you like comfortable with starting over, comfortable with growth, and you like embrace it and just like don't give a fuck about like society's concept of what it means to have like peaked in an area, like for you or for whatever, like maybe your like version of, or like your perception of like, yeah, I've had enough here, like happens sooner than someone else's, right? And so it's just like not about judging that, just like letting yourself do it. But for people, right, because you're talking about the Libra thing, I mean, so there's also the fact that we've got Jupiter. I mean, this is again just a couple of weeks from now. I believe that it is, well, I can pull it up on my calendar actually. It is toward the beginning of March. There it is, March 12th. So March 12th, we have Jupiter coming into conjunction with Chiron in Aries, and Venus will be like right next to it. It will be very, very close. So of course, that is in opposition to Libra. So I read this as like, I'm not a doom and gloom astrologer. I don't want to read it as financial crisis. I read it as a moment of financial opportunity, and it's gonna, like, some people are gonna be like, ah, and some people are gonna be, ah, and it's gonna work out for some and it's not gonna work out for others. And it's just about like, I'm looking at this chart right now, and this is like not what it is, like, but I think it's relevant to just the message I want to say right now is like, right here it shows Libra being ruled by the 8th house, and like that's the whole thing about even the 2nd house, right? If the 2nd house is like, Taurus and represents like money and finances and abundance or whatever, you can't take it with you. And that's the 8th house, right? It's like, enjoy it all right here. Like everything comes to an end, like everything, even if that end is like your like demise. It's like the attachment that we have to money is what will like remove it from your presence, right? Or like placing so much meaning on it. And that's why, and you get this, I think, so much too. Like, I've been having this conversation a lot lately, like people in my world feeling like either they have to like be at a certain frequency, right, in order to like be like in the energy of abundance, like they have to like be positive or be high vibe or whatever, or that they have to like earn it, like that there's some kind of karmic like whatever that they need to like debt they need to pay or something or whatever. And I just like have to point out to them that it's not even about that. It's just like literally like I want, like, this is my body, like this is my, like this is what I require, like this is it. That's how rich people are rich, basically. It's because they're, and it's easier when you're born into it, obviously, because when that is like your only perception of how things are, then yeah, that's how things should be. Like, of course, they like literally can't conceive of what it would be like to have to cut your own cucumbers. Right? And that's fine. There's not like, that's just what their life is, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are going to have to come to that like lesson as well, is that it's not a merit based thing, and it's not a hard work thing. Ooh, I would really love for this to be like a union moment, like, to be honest, especially because at the same time we've got like this 3-month window where Pluto's going to be moving into Aquarius, and we've got Saturn moving into Pisces at the same time. And so it's this very like, we're getting a preview of the like power to the people moment. I'm getting a Harry Potter tattoo. I am not getting a Harry Potter tattoo. But yeah, sufficiency. Yes. And I think that a lot of, I keep going off on these Saturn tangents, and I don't know, because I've got so many thoughts about Saturn and about the upcoming transits, and maybe it's like I'm so like Capricorn, like Saturn dominant, but I think so much about like COVID was an era, like that was Saturn in Aquarius. Like we can just so clearly see when Saturn is in a sign, like what society, like what the world is working on right now, like what we're focused on. And yes, there's Pluto in the background in this like bigger, like transformative way, but he moves slow as fuck. Like Saturn is a fast fucker, like serious 2-3 years. And, COVID was exactly what, it's so freaky when I go back and I think about it, but it's exactly what I expected it to be. And so I know what I expect this to be, and I'm telling you, it would be the coolest twist, like the coolest twist of a lifetime for like Marianne Williamson to like get presidency in 2024, because we will have Saturn in Pisces. We will have Saturn in Pisces. We will have Pluto in Aquarius. Like everything is like very kismet for something like that happening. And I would just really love that. I would love for that to be how this goes. And then when Saturn moves into Aries, we have like, you know, we've been working on like subconscious work, and we're going to recognize like, okay, so shaming and like suppressing like the masculine is not working. Like, we need to heal. We need to allow space to feel. We need to give them, right? Just the same, I don't know, just the same way that like you might call it like rich people problems, or you might call it first world problems, but those problems are actually problems to them. I would love, oh my gosh, I would love a spiritual leader being the first woman president. That would be just like outstanding. I would get out there and like do the work if it were Marianne Williamson. I'm serious, because I've completely lost all faith in, I mean, I never had much faith in the Democrats to begin with, but like I'm completely registered like as People's Party now, because I just can't, anyway, we're not going down that road. But, you know, I see like this is what, like, astrology has nuance. And I see almost like two forks of like where we could go. And I really prefer one fork over the other. Like, I really do. And I don't even want to speak about the other fork, you know what I mean? But if we have to, even a little bit, sufficiency and sustainability really need to be like high key themes that we're talking about. Anyway, yeah, just like we need to recognize, right? Like, everyone's shaming people or like pushing them down, or like, you know, having a pain Olympics fucking contest about like, no, like my hurt is worse than yours, or my pain is worse than yours. Like, it's not going to help anybody, and we're not going to get anywhere, right? We have to acknowledge like the experience that we are having, you know, individually, and acknowledge that like you're allowed to feel how you feel about it, you know, but like also, what are we going to be moving toward? Teaching on money again, but from that perspective, I love that. And you know, like, you're just such an intuitive person too, that like I can see that you like feel it coming before it happens too. But yeah, like honestly, that would, like, if I have any like insider advice, like over these last, you know, 8+ years that I've been doing business online, or like having my own business, and then also paying attention to Saturn's transits, like, we are naturally going to evolve our business. Like, what we do is going to evolve. And if you evolve with Saturn's messaging, like, you're always going to be relevant, and like you're never going to be left behind, because you're always going to be working on the thing that everybody's working on. You know, it's like, I knew before Saturn moved into Aquarius that we were going to see a surge in work at home opportunities. And so my first thought was, well, people are going to need to learn how to like deal with that. Like, being around their families all the time, and being around, like, they're going to have to learn how to be better communicators. Like, they're not going to be in the office. Like, they're going to have to learn how to be better communicators, like through digital media. Right. And so like, that was where I went, and was like teaching people about like how to systemize themselves, and how to like learn about their, you know, their placements and stuff. Pain is pain. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. I love that so much. So yeah, I mean, this week I feel like we're really seeing this, like, this moment of recognition of like, okay, this thing that has been on my heart or like this thing I've been devoted to, it's either like, yes, it's the thing, I see it, and I've been loving. So we have Mercury in Aquarius right now, and that's my natal Mercury placement. And it is this like, it's like I feel it's why I'm such a good strategist. It's like one of the things, but it's like, I think like 20 miles into the future, and it's like, oh, it's just like, right? I just like see the steps, you know? But it's like out of the box, like especially technological kind of like, you know, innovative thinking. And so because we're all living with that right now, I've been just seeing so many people pop off with like, oh, you know what we could do is this, or you know what we could do is like this campaign or this thing. And I'm just like, absolutely everyone, like, let's come to the table and like come look at the problem that you shelved for a while, or that you just like have been coming up against a wall with. And it's like, I have not been able to figure this out. And now you figured it, like, this is a time to just fresh eyes, you know? And especially again, toward the end of this week, we're really having this like commitment moment, or this like recommitment moment of like what it is that we want to see more of. And then I know that we have, this Saturday, we've got it, we're entering Pisces season. I had an interesting question, and this is like kind of off topic or whatever, but like yesterday in my Discord, someone asked me about like, is her sister's birthday, or like, this is her sister's birthday, is she a this or is she a that, right? Talking about sun signs. And like, just to clarify, you know, timing is everything, because like, it's not like, okay, it's Saturday, so we're now in Pisces season. I mean, it is mathematical. So when we're talking about Pisces season, I'm on the East Coast, so the sun moves into Pisces at 5:34 p.m. on Saturday. So that means babies born at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday are still technically an Aquarius sun. Still technically, right? So anyway, just to like put a little note on that. But then we start the week next week with a new moon in Pisces, and also same day Venus enters Aries. So again, just like these next like 2-ish weeks or so are very much a season of like love and devotion and recommitment, and figuring out like new ways of approaching what it is that you want to get done. And then just like full fucking force. I love this. I'm, you know, I've said it once and I, you know, mean it. I feel like we got kind of robbed of, oh, your mom's a Capricorn? Hello. Yeah, I feel like we just got robbed of a Capricorn season. Recommitting to money, very Venusian. Yes, recommitting to money, but it's, you know, it's recommitting to support, it's recommitting to like abundance, it's recommitting to generosity. Ooh, that's the one for me. I had this like moment the other day where, and listen, I don't even want to like talk about it, but like I spent probably like a year or so like very much punishing myself for like killing, you know, Enrich, like for killing a business, because like it was a super successful business, but like I just was not behind it anymore. I couldn't do it, and I don't regret that, but I felt like I let people down, or like I, you know, whatever. And it took me a long time to like allow myself to fully like get off the fucking cross, like get over myself, you know, and remember that like one of my core reasons for doing this, or like at all any of this, like, and this is just very 8th house of me, but like I'm constantly thinking about like, how do I want to be remembered, or like what do I want people to think about me or say about me like after I'm dead. Like, I know that sounds silly, but I think about it like pretty frequently, and I want people to remember me as someone who's generous, right? Like someone who's like, but if I want people to remember me as someone who is extremely generous, and yes, I'm very generous with my content. I mean, I'm here like every day talking for about an hour about astrology, and, you know, I do other stuff too. But it's like, if I want people to remember me as someone who's generous, like I've got to have the resources to access that. Like I have to be able to do that. My kids are close to Google age. What do I want them to see? Oh my God, don't even, woo, shut up. My kid actually, no, that's true. She has Googled me because she was like, Mommy, you're famous. I was like, what? She's like, look, you know, and she, you know, saw my book and just like, you know, like interviews that I've had and stuff like that. It's adorable. But yeah, but yes, same, you know, it's like, I want to make the impact that I want to make. And that's really what it was for me with Enrich, especially because it's not obviously like I do, you know, astrology now, but it was more so like I didn't want to be at the top of a mountain, right? I didn't want to climb all the way to the top of a mountain. I didn't want to be at the top of, you know, it's like I was getting up there to a point where I was starting to be like highly recognized in that field, like attached to like, you know, all of the other big names. And I'm like, okay, like I see that, and like that is not something that I want for this, you know? And that was just, you know, like for me. And I tell people who are in my space all the time, like, I don't care if this is something that you want to do, you know what I mean? Or if this is like something that's important to you or valuable to you or something that you use. Like, I'm not here to tell you like what is or isn't correct. I'm just here to tell you what is not correct for me. Yeah. And so I'm very much excited to recommit to what it is that I'm here to do. Like the messages have all just been loud and fucking clear lately, and I could not be more excited. So yeah, I feel actually so something that I've had to really process and get over also in order for me to be ready for this is like being recognized like just for this, or like being, I know that sounds silly, just for this, like what does that even mean? I don't know. I guess I just felt that I needed to give people like material tangible value, and there is material tangible value here. Like as a marketing strategist, as a branding strategist, I know that, like I can like name it, you know what I mean? Like I can verbalize it and call it out. But I guess that there was something here about like I don't even know, like this, right? So I want to rewrite this book. I want to, like, this is what the whole thing is. And what it all comes down to is this message that I got over and over last year. All of my private clients, like, you know, I would say that probably like 50% of my private clients end up like with sustainable businesses at the end of us working together. And that was like what the goal was. But like 100% of my clients, 95% of my clients, let's like leave room for me to not know everything, are completely satisfied by the end of our work together, because what they realize is that they didn't actually want the business, like they were placing some kind of significance or meaning on that for some other reason, and it was actually that they wanted something else completely, right? They wanted recognition, they wanted appreciation, they wanted to feel good in their lives. And what it all comes down to is exactly what that fucking like impersonator like called out the other day when Mercury came into conjunction with Pluto. Was this like aha moment of not a single person, not people who know me in my business life, not people who know me from like church life, right, from personal life, not people who know me from the yoga studio, not my family. So like this message I keep getting is like, I wish that I had your energy. Like, I wish I had your audacity. Like, that's the word that they use. Like, I wish I had your audacity to, like, be myself in every area of my life. Like, that's what they really want. They want the courage to know themselves and to be who they are and to want what they want and, you know, all of that stuff. And I was so, like, I just felt like for a long time, like, that's not enough. Like, that's not, like, why, like, you don't just do that? Like, what do you mean? Because I'm walking around all day with the thought in my head, like, we're going to die. I don't want to waste my time with people who suck. Like, I know it sounds terrible. And it's not that they suck. It's just that they're not for me. You know what I mean? And so because they're not for me, like, that time sucks, you know? And so that's more what I think about. But that, you know, yeah, so I've got like a program coming, like it's definitely something that's like emerging from like me right now, is like this, you know, how to attract attention and how to like, love you so much. Thank you. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Like, enjoy your Valentine's Day. Love you so much, you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. go get loved on. But yeah, I'm just like recommitting to this, to this message, to this like this recognition that like, yeah, we get to be audacious, like, and that is something that people really enjoy from me, I guess. Let's pull a card. Let's see what kind of energy we're working with today. In the spirit of audaciousness, we've got Jupiter. Of course we do, right? Because Jupiter could not get more audacious. Oh, you know what is a fun thing that I learned yesterday? Because, transparently, I know astrology. Like, I can read your chart. I can read you like a fucking book. It's a little weird, especially if I don't really know you as a person. But with that said, I've been learning a little bit more about like the history and some of the like historical context of astrology, especially Venus, because I'm like teaching this class tomorrow for my subscribers. So fun fact about Venus. Now I knew that Venus and Juno, right? So we've got these like two different placements. Juno is an asteroid that's in your chart. It's not one of the like if you pull up your chart on an app or whatever, it's usually not going to just show you Juno. If you've got like settings in there, like there's an app called Time Passages Pro. It's a very good app, but it's like, I think like $30. So it's an investment, but it's a one-time fee. But in there they have the option to turn on like extra asteroids, and so it'll turn on, usually it's Juno, Ceres, Pallas, and Chiron. I feel like there's another one I'm missing, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But Juno, right, is the one that'll tell you a little bit more about commitment, right? Because Venus is the attraction. It's like what you desire, what you think is beautiful, what you want to see more of. And so like in ancient, like Rome, right, in Roman like lore, brides to be would bring like a gift to Venus before the wedding, but the wedding itself was actually ruled by Juno and Jupiter. Because Jupiter is the husband of Juno, and so that was like the male and female counterpart of commitment. So I think that it's really interesting that we would pull a Jupiter card at the same time that we're talking about audaciousness and putting yourself out there and letting yourself love and be free. Oh, and we also have the moon in Sagittarius today, which is ding, 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 rolled by Jupiter. So lots of really good stuff going on today for your heart. This is a really good time to just like let yourself love and be free and express yourself, and wear your heart on your sleeve and have courage to do so, because those who are for you will receive you, and those who are not worth your time or energy anyway, right? And so we're going to allow ourselves to bless and release those people and those situations that no longer serve us, because we know that our highest and greatest good is on the way, especially when we know that we are setting ourselves up for a huge moment of recommitment at the end of this week. That's kind of all I have for today, really. So I think I'm going to let us go a touch early so that I can finish up this lesson on Venus. If you want to join me, your heart is permanently attached to your sleep, whether you like it or not. As someone with my sun conjunct moon, I feel you on a spiritual level there. And it's so funny when I see people talk about, or I see like messaging about like how cold Capricorn moons are. And I should be the coldest of Capricorn moons, because not only do I have a Capricorn moon, but it's in the 8th house. So it's like, I will cut you off. And I will. I super will. But not like maliciously, not like from a place of like anger but like, I love you and I love myself more. Like, I love you and I wish you all the best in the journey of your life, but like, I love me and my energy and my inner peace more than anybody and more than anything. And like, I will sacrifice you on the altar of my inner peace at any, like, without hesitation. So that's where I guess the cold Capricorn 8th house moon comes from. But if you know me if you talk to me for longer than 5 minutes, I know that this isn't a great case of this, but like, you're gonna see me cry. If you come to my live streams, if you go watch the replays from Astro Chat and Chill over the last like week or so, I'm sure that I will cry at some point. I'm a huge feeler. I'm a very big feeler. Hearts on my sleeve, right? Sun conjunct moon. And I guess the 8th house, I mean, if you've got a Scorpio moon, I don't have a Scorpio moon, but it sure does have Scorpio energy, and so that's pretty fucking intense. So I hear you. Yeah, have the courage to like do it and do it for real. Oh, because that's what, like, I'll be vulnerable, but I'll be vulnerable only in my safe spaces. Like, I'll be vulnerable only in the places where I know it's like, okay, I'm gonna be like safe and received here. And this is a time where maybe I need to like be more vulnerable, like where I would like to be received. And then let it happen or let it not. And don't give myself, like, don't give it like room to be like emotionally attached or just, you know what I mean? Like, I guess whatever, you're gonna feel how you're gonna feel about it, but like, if I go to my yoga studio, for example, and I try to like, I don't know, like, hey, you want to go to lunch or what, you know, or like try to hang out with someone or like whatever, like, yeah, I probably would have feelings about like rejection if I were, but like also it depends on how it comes across, you know what I mean? Because even if someone simply says like, oh no, like I can't today, I could, in my mind, this is where NLP gets you real fucked up, right? Like, if I've had this experience before where, you know, maybe my mom or like I know somebody who, you know, would say that, would politely like decline, but secretly be like, oh my gosh, like I fucking hate that person. Like, I could perceive someone just literally telling me like, oh, sorry, I can't today, as them like secretly telling me like, God, I fucking hate you. And like, that's not even what's happening. It's just that you're repeating a pattern from inside of your mind that you saw before, and you're projecting it onto this situation with this person. This is why you're triggered when your boyfriend picks up their phone, even though your boyfriend's never cheated on you, that was your ex. You're projecting that situation onto them because you see someone pick up their phone, you see your boyfriend pick up their phone, and your immediate reaction is, well, that was the experience that I had. I don't want to experience that pain again. Right? So it is natural to hide or to compartmentalize your like emotional side, or to not allow yourself to connect or to be vulnerable, or to like try to take it to the next level with friends, clients, whatever, because you're afraid of that rejection. But like, ultimately what we all have to remember is that rejection doesn't necessarily mean one thing or the other about us, right? It's in the 4 agreements, like, make no assumptions what someone else is doing or going through. And in fact, this is literally like, I was on the other end of it this morning, where a coach who has supported me before, really amazing person, he was sending me some voice messages and, you know, just like really inspiring stuff, super appreciated that. But at the end of his message, he mentioned something about this offer that he has right now, and like, transparently, like, love you to death, dude, but like, I'm, you know, paying off my yoga teacher training right now. I've got some other stuff going on, so it's just not something that makes sense for me right now. And it's not that I am not interested in the offer. It's not that I'm not interested in this person or that I don't believe that it is valuable. It's just not the right time for me. I've got other things that I'm focused on. And that's what we really need to remember, like, in every case, you know, that when we are rejected, you know, it's so cliche, but like, one door closes, another one opens, you know, just because like there is a no here doesn't mean that it's no forever. And it doesn't mean that it's no in every case, you know. It's like, if I ask one person at the yoga studio if they want to go to lunch and they say, oh, I can't today, that doesn't mean that every single person that I would ever want to make friends with at the yoga studio is like not interested, you know. And that's where we really need to allow ourselves to like open up and open ourselves up to create the experience that we actually want to have. Like, what does your heart want? This is a little preview of what we're going to be doing in the Venus class tomorrow, but I will show you super quick something that I'm going to be talking about. So, right, we're really talking about two different sides of Venus, is how the baseline of this class, is that we've got the second house energy, that Venus in Taurus, that love of self through taking good fucking care of yourself, through sustainability and sufficiency, right? Material possessions, your own money, the physical comforts of your life, and having nice things. That's very much Taurus, right? Good food, good sex, feel good, good fabrics. We love it. And then there is the seventh house side of this, which is going to be that externalization, the love of others, where you are able to see things from other people's perspectives, where you're able to create compromises, where you are able to take values and contracts and create harmonious relationships from that. And then truly just like aesthetics, like what is it that you find beautiful? Your second house and your seventh house, these are going to tell you a lot of information about what it is that you need to be demonstrating and what it is that you need to be looking for and then asking for in order for you to create the experience that you desire, both like the relationship with yourself, which is foundational, and then your relationship with other people. And particularly in this context, when we're talking about the seventh house, it's not just marriage kind of relationships. What that is like long-term partnerships. Long-term, I call them mutually beneficial partnerships, right? So this could be business partnerships, this could be, but not, when I say partners, I mean partners, right? So this is not employer-employee hierarchy. Think about that too when you're thinking about your partnerships, your relationships. They are supposed to be partners, equals, like counterparts, you know. When I was reading about the mythology and like the historical context of Venus, it was really interesting to see that, like, you know, obviously we know it's like Venus and Mars, you know, they're like counterparts of one another, but like literally that is like Venus's whole like context. Like every part of her story is how she relates to like the other male characters. And, you know, I want you to think about this also as just like, it's a spectrum of like expression and a spectrum of energy. So when we say masculine, when we say feminine, we're not talking about like literal gender roles. We're talking about creating balance, right? Like the idea was that Venus brought in like the emotional temperament and the like sensuality and the softness that allowed, you know, military victory and financial abundance and material wealth and all of that to come through. That it's like, we can't, you know, have like, it was something about, I can't remember how they phrased it now, but it was actually like really beautiful. It was something about like the water in the womb, you know, being of like Venus. But then this like fire of, like the fire in the belly, like of creation, you know, which I thought was really like dope, a very cool analogy. And of course the child of Venus and Mars is Cupid. So, when we're talking about, love and relationships and, you know, Valentine's Day, and we're talking about Venus, it is not just about what do you want, what do you desire. You know, Jesus is pretty cool. Jesus is a Pisces. I bet you anything Jesus had his Venus in Pisces too. Dope. Jesus really knew what it meant to show unconditional love, right? And that is so Venus and Pisces. Actually, like very much so, especially like I've got this like note down here, hang on, because I go through and I like, you know, Venus in each of the signs and houses. And so like Venus and Pisces, the damsel in distress dynamic, regardless of gender roles, dislikes people who place significance on material status, social status, and labels. And I think that's very Jesus. Like if we were going to be writing a dating profile for him, like nailed it, right? And that's the whole concept of this, is like how to better recognize what it is that you need to be giving to yourself to demonstrate what your requirements are to the world and to the people in it, and then also how to recognize what it is that an ideal partnership looks and feels like to you, and then how to identify that in your field and access it. And that's really what we're going to be talking about tomorrow in class for the class about Venus. So if you are in my subscription, or if you are one of my private partners, like Kara here, hello Kara, welcome, welcome. Are you laughing about me talking about Jesus? Because that's fine. I will speculate wildly about Jesus's placements. No, we will not be doing that. Decline. Thank you so much for your request, but no, you will not be coming onto my live. Yeah, Jesus was a dope guy, or like maybe, I'm not really sure. It's like, is he, a character, or was he like actually a person? We don't really know anymore. But what we do know is that the brand was very good, right? And with that said, yeah, very much so a good time to get into my fucking membership. Right? So that you can come and learn about Venus, so that you can come and have this class with us, dig in, bring your charts, bring your kids' charts, bring your partners' charts, bring your biz partners' charts. Again, partners, not something that's like a short collaboration, not something that is like a higher low, like for me and Kara here, or like even me and y'all here, we would find our relationship in like the 3rd house or the 9th house, really, because those are houses of like teaching and interpersonal communication and like higher learning, and depending on how long our relationship is, right, is where we, isn't like 3rd house is, 9th house, but regardless, that's the kind of relationship that we have. So this would not be considered a 7th house collaborative partnership. However, what I will say is that the way that I lead, right, and the way that I teach is very much influenced by my 7th house, and I can't not. That's where my Venus is, for fuck's sake. So, yeah, I think that we're going to go a little bit early today. So, like I said, I can finish that lesson. Join me tomorrow. We're going to be same as this. It's going to be like 10 o'clock. We're going to be jumping right into it. So if you want to join me live, you've got to be in my subscriber base. If you want to get the replay, subscribers will get it right away. I will probably sell it in my shop, on my Ko-Fi shop, so you can look out for that later. But you're always going to get a better deal being inside of my membership. So, okay, that's it for today. Love y'all so much. I will be back tomorrow for another Astro Chat and Chill. I hope you have an amazing Valentine's Day, and like, seriously, like, go do something that like scares you a little bit today. Like, go do, like, let yourself be vulnerable today. Let yourself shoot for the moon or whatever, okay? What is for you will not miss you, okay? And what is not for you, may it be swiftly removed from your space. I hope you have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.